Did you watch the Tom Brady roast?
Saw the clips. Was watching the Stars Knights or whatever. So I was watching
which was,
that.
By the way, a
game.
fantastic Game 7.
Exciting Game 7 for a low-scoring affair, but still an exciting game nonetheless. But I definitely saw a lot of the clips from that roast.
People like, not everybody. There was a few comments on social media because what I said, I saw the clips floating around.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't even know the roast was happening Sunday night. Like, it just didn't do anything for me. That was my point. And, of course, now you see it in hindsight. People are like, oh, that's because you just don't like the humor. I was like, I hadn't even heard a joke yet or a roast yet. I was just saying it's not on my radar. Like, I don't really care to see Tom Brady and all these other people gathered around in a room. Now, that being said, some of the stuff was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Some of the stuff was, whoa, they shouldn't be tweeting or sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what roasts are. Like, I feel like roasts are kind of like the last acceptable forms of comedy.
Is it?
Yeah, because I always feel like, people feel a certain type of way of certain things, and I think comedy is open for interpretation, open to anybody. But I felt like, they definitely pumped the gas a little bit in that roast. Even Dana White made an appearance.
White?
For like 30 seconds or a minute.
Nobody's safe in a roast because Dana White got roasted quite a bit.
Yeah. So that was... Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a lot of the clips. Basically, what somebody did was compiled the funniest parts, which I appreciate.
Oh, okay.
And then I went in there and watched like 10 minutes of like the funniest parts of the roast.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And again, what's interesting about this is what some people view as funny and what other people view as funny can be totally different.
Of course, man. It's the beauty of comedy.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
That's you said something there, though, like that. Is it the last form of like, hey, it's okay? Who was it again that was on Saturday Night Live? It was very, very edgy. Gosh, what's his name?
I mean, there's been a couple people.
We were talking about it a few weeks back.
Okay.
No. He's just on like a month ago.
He hosted?
Yeah. No. I'm not so bad with these names.
Yeah.
He hadn't been
I'm
on
so
forever.
bad
It
with
got canceled from him.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Shane Giles, right? Yep, that's who it is.
Shane, yes.
Yeah, Shane Giles. Brent didn't even know his name.
It was Shane, but I don't. Shane Giles?
Shane Gillis, whatever. Shane Gillis. Giles. Yeah.
That's
Shane Gillis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of viewed as whoa. By some, right?
No, for sure. By some. I mean, the one that really sticks out to me was when Bill Burr hosted, this is like 2 or 3 years ago, and he did like an 8 to 10 minute monologue. And like that really rubbed some people the wrong way. Yeah. Just because, he got erased a little bit and everything. But like the beauty of that is that Bill Burr is married to a black woman, which people didn't realize. So then, like, when that came out, it was like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't say all this stuff about Bill Burr. But no, I mean, SNL, it's funny because I feel like now they try to cater more towards, like, younger generations, right? Like, I mean, Dua Lipa hosted and performed. But, whatever. Some people are into that. Not me. But then sometimes they bring back, like, the old school, like, shock value comedian, and then that kind of, like, gets aroused over everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. Is a roast especially, or sometimes even comedy, supposed to make you uncomfortable? I was thinking of that yesterday because I'm like, how many people is this making uncomfortable? Like, there's some things I don't fall in the same line of humor as a lot of or some other folks.
Yeah.
And then some others I do. Like, I'm just like off and on with it. I can't figure myself out when it comes to it. And I would probably be in the minority. Even stuff that a lot of people find hilarious, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, right? So again, to each their own. Like, and I have no problem with it. Mm-hmm. But I was sitting there yesterday watching some of the clips, and I'm like, this is not going to fly in today's world. Like, this is just. But then I'm like, well, maybe the edginess, the uncomfortableness, like that's the line. Like you kind of toe that line as far as you can go. I mean, even Brady himself. I mean, to go to 9/11 is a dangerous play. Yeah,
and once again, the highlights that I saw, I guess where we got the most upset was talking bad about Robert Kraft, which, all right, man.
I know it. Did he really get upset? That was interpretation, right?
Yeah, I guess that was interpretation.
But if he really got upset
like
over that, and then other stuff that was said, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Like, listen, I'm not going to, like, go down the rabbit hole of the Constitution and freedom of speech and all this stuff when it comes to comedy, but I will say this. I can take you to an art gallery, Brent, and we can stand there and look at a painting. And I can feel a certain type of way about it, and you can feel a certain type of way about it. And odds are we probably won't agree with it, right? Because it's all for our own interpretation. Well, comedy is an art form as well, right? And I think, whether it's people getting offended, whatever you want to call it, that art form has kind of, I think, gone downhill a little bit just because you have to watch what you say now. So, like, every, once in a while when these roasts come out or anything, you can kind of let loose and let the fur fly, if you will. I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, if you're offended, that's your right to be offended. But once again, I consider it an art form, and it's open to interpretation.
Okay, so how much is real and how much is not? Because the Deflategate joke, everybody now interprets as, okay, he just admitted to cheating. I don't know about everybody, but I saw a lot of that floating around. So, I didn't take it that way. If it's a roast, you play that line, right? I didn't come away thinking, oh, yeah, he just admitted guilt.
No, I think he was just having fun with it. Yeah, and that's all that is, man.
Yeah. So basically, he said if he missed it, he's like, they spent $20 million investigating Deflategate. He said, if you just gave me the $20 million, I would have admitted I did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why did Brady do it? Like, why would he do that? He doesn't seem like the guy that would.
Well, that's why you do it.
Yeah, because of that. Because it's a little bit of the unknown.
Yeah, I think that they might have had a roast for Gronk a couple years ago in Boston, if I remember correctly, and but of course, it's Gronk. There's some stuff to make fun of. With Brady, a little more, it seemed like a clean cut kind of guy.
Yeah.
New
material the last couple of years.
New material the past couple of years and everything. And obviously, arguably the greatest football player of all time. It's going to bring an audience. It's going to bring reaction. And it was the talk of Twitter last night.
Yeah, it was. Two things. So I read up on it a little bit more. I'm like, why is this happening? I was a little curious because I kind of missed the lead up, or if there was a lead up, which is not surprising. But so I guess Netflix is trying to get back in this game. Like this is an old school game, really. Roast goes all the way back to
Shaq
mid 1900s.
Shaq doesn't remember.
I'm way back. Stars and other things.
But I'm saying they're a prevalent thing. This was just hyped up because of Tom Brady, but roasts happen all the time.
Yeah, Jeff Ross, is that his name?
Yes, that's his job.
I didn't even know him.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't even know him.
He's a stand-up comedian, but he's known for being like the roasts. Yeah, the roast.
So that's a pretty wild thing to be known for, too.
Just grilling people? Sounds like the life to me. Now people give it back to him,
because you got to have some guts to be able to just stand there in front of somebody to say some of the stuff that's said.
You got to have some guts and have some thick skin because, I don't know, as a comedian, it's my goal to sell out arenas. And stadiums and everything, and maybe star in movies one day. A la Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
To Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. With Jeff Ross, it's just dude, you're the roast guy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird
I'm not sure. And he's masterful at what he does, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But it's funny how in the comedic world, some people gravitate more towards those big roles, those movie roles. Some people are kind of like a comic. They just kind of stick to the old school, playing in smaller venues, but being I think a little more raunchy. And then you have guys or girls who are just really specialized in roasting people.
Yeah, I was reading back on it. Don Rickles was that guy.
Yeah.
Right, and so I guess he's kind of like the new
made an entire life off it.
Yeah. So which is also fascinating. But anyway, Netflix trying to get back. I got to believe they hit a home run with this thing because everybody was talking about it. What I was going to say is the schedule maker, whoever did a great job. Because what was going on last night? This is all anybody was talking about.
No one cared about hockey.
Yeah, a little basketball. Yeah, great NASCAR finish we'll get into. You got some sports stuff, but you didn't have award shows or big something coming out.
Yeah.
It was on the tail end of a weekend where there wasn't a big talker, and whether you get lucky with that or not, but they had everybody talking about it.
Yeah.
That's what the whole sports world was. And I'll say this again though. This is the sports world capturing people. Our sports world is wild to me right now. Again, I live in a TV business where we've been told for 20-something years, 30-something years that sports in a newscast doesn't matter, right? And so, it's just wild how much sports is at the top of our, discussion points on a daily basis, but on a Monday morning, each and every, doesn't matter where you are. And now we see it all over. If you're watching CBS this morning, or if you're watching in the evening, there are sports stories in there. The NFL obviously dominates and I think is a big driver of network television. you see a moment like this with Netflix and all the other things like QB that Netflix has done and how they're helping like tie into the sports world. It's not the only thing, by the way. Like, I don't believe that, but it's a major driver of getting people talking. And there is a population too that exists, which has always fascinated me, that like has no clue what's going on.
Yeah. No, right? For sure. Yeah,
like they really that exists, which is wild to me. But like my mom sometimes reminds me of that.
Yeah, I got you.
When I have a conversation with her.
Yep.
But that's kind of cool too. But again, I think they hit a home run. My guess is they hit a home run. I don't know how they even do it. I don't even know if they do ratings or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they disclose them just because why?
You don't need to.
You own it, right? So there's nothing really to compete against. I mean, maybe they'll pull out some numbers, but no, I'm sure they hit a home run.
I've seen a lot of people say, like, who's next? Like, who will be the next one?
Yeah.
A lot of people throwing out a guy like LeBron James, Aaron Rodgers.
LeBron James, Aaron Rodgers, Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
has there been a Tiger Woods roast before?
I don't think so. Or not. See, that was my thought on this. Like, how many of these things get actually like televised and publicized? Usually, it feels like they're very behind closed doors, and maybe you'll get like a snapshot of a cell phone video of something. But that's it. That's what was different for me on this one, is that this was in front of the whole world.
Yeah. No, it's
and
amazing.
Stuff being out there on Twitter is like, whoa, I'm not sure. Like, I've clicked on something, and Steph's like, what are you listening to?
Oh, Brent, it's Twitter. Come on, man. Now it's the Wild West out there. I mean,
she was offended.
Oh yeah, there's Twitter right now. It's the Wild West. I mean, you have the roast clips, you have Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and those people are. It's a great time to be alive right now on Twitter. Is all I'm going to say.